Alrighty. Hey, welcome everybody. We are pre-recorded, not live, here in Garden City, Idaho at Cinder Winery. Thank you so much for joining us for kind of a review of what is headed your way in the fall 2021 Cinder Wine Club release. I am joined by Melanie Krause, my wife, our phenomenal winemaker. How's it going, Melanie?
Great, thank you.
I'm a little nervous. We haven't done one of these in a while. Do you remember how to do this stuff?
I think so.
Let's go over the big things.
Okay.
Eye contact over there.
Yep.
Don't look at me. How are we doing so far, guys? Okay, we're doing all right.
It's hard not to look at you, Joe. You're so handsome.
She's dreamy. Okay, first off, what's this? What's going on here?
Well, we're just about to hit harvest time, and the grapes are getting ripe, so I brought some in for a little display. They look very different from each other. Every variety has its own look, and so I think it's kind of cool. This is a Verdejo. We're going to talk about that today. We've got one of my favorite ones from a visual standpoint. This is Gewürztraminer. By the time we pick it, it'll be all pink and adorable. See, right now it's still a little underripe, so it's green, but that's coming out in your fall kit. Super yum. And then we have these huge contrasts between the reds. So that's a Tempranillo cluster, really big berries and long clusters. This is Merlot. It's always got smaller berries, but it's kind of a gangly long thing. And then we have Cabernets. They tend to be very compact with small berries, kind of a petite, cute little thing. So I think those are fun. We have had a good year so far, even though it's been hot and uncomfortable for humans. Grapes generally like quite a bit of heat, and so our crop is looking really good, and I'm excited. I think we should be able to make really great wine.
So this is 2021, but we're not here to talk or to drink 2021 wines. So where can they find out more information about your thoughts on the harvest?
Oh yes, well, I have a short blog posted with a lot more nerdy detail about how the heat and smoke and various things like that affect grapes. You can find it at cinderwines.com under the stories section.
Okay, cool. Can I eat these, by the way, while we hang out?
Yes.
Now, lots of wines today, so what do we want them to drink first? Can you tell them to start drinking, by the way?
Yes, please
Enjoying
join
themselves?
us.
Yes.
Yeah, start
Relax,
relaxing.
people.
I mean, on your guide card, you have room for notes, and we've put a suggested tasting order. So if you want to start out with the Laissez-Faire Sauv Blanc, it's my recommended any time of day wine, but particularly like that first thing after work or appetizer wine or whatever. So,
that's right. So I think most of you folks should have one of these tasting kits. Thank you so much for your support on those. And like Melanie said, we sort of have them in a recommended order. Now, wow, that's 7 wines today. Are we drinking 7 wines today?
I think on camera we better hold off because we do need to get some more work done today.
Yeah, I would be asleep in the office if I tasted all of these wines today, but we'll hit a few of them and we'll tell some stories about all of the wines. So yeah, please crack that open with your friends at home and let's enjoy Sauvignon Blanc. To me, phenomenal wine to open with, like really crisp, nice acidity. Cheers, everybody. Let's toast.
Cheers.
Thanks for joining us.
But I'm going to pour us some Verdejo.
Ooh, all right. So let's go on. Already, we're on the second wine, and we are going to drink this one with you because, well, it's one of our favorites. And this is only the second vintage that we have come out with a Verdejo. I thought maybe Melanie could do a little bit more, storytelling about this wine because it is, I think, one that's really exciting. And already our second vintage, people are like asking when it's coming back out and stuff.
Yes, absolutely. Well, it's young, new for us, and very small production. So get your limited amount while you can, right?
That's right. Yeah, this wasn't in every single allocation that's out there. We have so many people in our club that only went to a limited number of club members, but it is available as an add-on, a limit of 1 bottle. So if you really love it here in your tasting kit and it's not in your allocation, go ahead and get in touch with us right away so that we can get another bottle headed to you, or you can come pick one up.
Yeah.
But Verdejo, Spanish?
Yes, Spanish variety. We hope to produce more in the future, but it's a good example of kind of what an interesting long-term project it is to start growing and producing a new variety. So it's a collaboration between ourselves and the Martin family of Adrian, Oregon. Joe and I are interested in Spanish varieties because we believe that the Snake River Valley has the most similarities, if you're looking at European wine regions, with the northern Spanish regions like Ribera del Duero, which produces a whole bunch of Verdejo, specifically in this one growing region, Rueda. It's the only wine they produce, is this beautiful white wine. And it so happens that Tim Martin and his family out in Adrian, Oregon, and the Snake River Valley are also interested in lots of the same varieties. Yep. So almost a decade ago, we hatched the plan together that we would try this one out in our growing region, and it took a couple years to get the plant material ready to plant.
Wait, don't you just like order Verdejo Tang, like the powder, and then don't you guys just then dissolve it in a barrel back there?
Yeah, something like that.
It's real quick, right? Making these decisions, you can have this overnight. Like if I wanted you to make a sparkling wine. By the way, who wants Melanie to make a sparkling wine?
Don't answer that.
She hates.
I'm not making a sparkling
She hates
wine.
when I ask that. So you have to have patience in this job?
Yes.
Oh man.
That's the third ingredient after grapes and yeast.
Now you've been a very patient person and kind of strengthened that patience muscle because you've been married to me.
True.
For almost 16 years. So that helps, right? Mm-hmm. See, I do contribute. Okay. All right, so it took 10 years. Why 10 years?
Or close to, yeah. So first you have to get the plant material that you're going to plant. And with grapes, you don't pour tang in the ground or plant a seed. You have to have a cutting. So you take a cutting off of a vine, and then it has to be rooted and grown into a plant that's sturdy enough to be planted in the soil and survive. So that generally takes a year or two, or even 3, depending on how many mother plants they have. They're called like clean plant stock that you can use for cuttings. So Tim ordered these from a certified disease-free vineyard. They grew up the plants for a couple years to get them ready. Then he planted them, and then it's about 3 years just to get the vine established. And by the 4th or 5th year, you can expect to get something close to a full crop.
Okay, that's a really long process to get to here. I'm tired just thinking about it, but I do remember.
Well, we're not done yet. Then there's about a year's worth of winemaking. So
there's winemaking on top of that? All right.
Yeah, so by the time it was all said and done, it was like a 7 or 8 year project to get this going. So
and was worth it. We've determined it was worth it. We're happy with this. Tim's happy with it. The Emerald Slopes is a good place for this grape.
Yeah, I think so. In year number 2 here, I continue to be impressed and excited about the quality of the wine, and I don't necessarily know every answer to like what this variety is like because we still are relatively new at making it, but I'm excited about certain things like the fact that it makes such an elegant, crisp wine in a region that gets as hot as ours. That can be somewhat of a challenge with white wines, making them really elegant in regions that reach hot temperatures. And I also like that it has kind of a robust texture. It's not all the way as robust as a Chardonnay, but it's quite round and lots of layers. I'm getting a little bit of spice, and at this young stage, still a little hint of fresh cut bananas, which we often see in Chardonnay when it's very young, and then that exact characteristic slowly evolves into other.
I'm just thinking about pairings for this. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking about pairings, and just off the top of my head, I have had no professional help at all. But if I was sitting at home, I might whip up like a butter poached potato pear compote, little herb salad with the 2020 Verdejo. Would you?
I can't wait for you to whip that up for us.
Yeah. Oh boy. I might have spoken too soon. I have a little cheat sheet here that's from our elevated tasting. So if you get a chance, come in for those. There's a few seatings left, but we tasted that with the chef from Boise Bites. It works awesome. So all right, cheers. We're gonna move on. Toast, salud, right?
Yeah, boy, we should have brought a spittoon. We're gonna be
No way. We'll get a coffee after this.
happy by the end of this.
Happy is good. There's nothing wrong with that. A lot of white wines in the tasting kit and in the, oh boy. Fortunately, I was an altar boy, so I can handle the sacrament. We are going to have quite a few wines. Now, we're skipping a couple here that I wanted to just chat about before we get into the reds.
Sure.
Okay, so we do kind of recommend, actually, I think we go that way. Verdejo, and this is our bone-dry Muscat Blanc with a healthy splash of Viognier in there, right?
Right.
And this is kind of one of those fun stories about the Small Lot series, right?
Yeah, I mean, Small Lot series is our way of experimenting with new varieties, different techniques, things that keep expanding the winemaking team's creativity and experience. And then when it works out, we bottle it by itself and bring our wine club along on that journey so they can learn as well. And then some of the success stories, if those wines are really beautiful, very popular, we sometimes end up making them part of our normal repertoire, which is what has happened with Verdejo and actually the Gewürztraminer, where is it right there too.
That's
started out as Small Lot series, but did so well that we started to incorporate them into our every year lineup. So
yeah, and I kind of went out of order there because I started talking about the Verdejo, but we would recommend that actually after the Verdejo, maybe you taste the Gewürztraminer, dry Gewürztraminer, and that again is another Small Lot series program that's sort of is a success story, right? It's rags to riches. We were just playing around with it, and then now it's a regular program. And that one is really kind of you were saying you love how we release it in the fall because it's your Thanksgiving wine, right?
Oh yeah, well it has lots of spicy notes, kind of like these pumpkin spice notes to them, and so I love pairing it with the fall type of foods like roasted root vegetables. All the richness of the food that you eat in fall and winter, I think, is really well offset by the crisp Gewürztraminer.
So
and
stuff
then
stuff for the fall, like your pumpkin spiced Oprah latte from Starbucks.
Yeah,
you kind of drink those hand in hand.
That's exactly what I pair it with.
Yeah, all the fall stuff, the flavors of fall is what we're talking about here. But it is great on the Thanksgiving table too. So
yes.
All right, and then we would be. Eventually, you guys will be getting to the Chardonnay, and the beauty of the Chardonnay. Well, it's so food friendly. It's insane. It's been kind of funny, right? We are really focused on Viognier here. It's definitely our signature white wine. We think we make really, really world class Viognier here, but so many times it's the Chardonnay pairing that gets the accolades, and it drives us nuts. But Chardonnay is super food friendly, and I'm just kicking around ideas here. I mean, I'm just a simple caveman, but if I was drinking Chardonnay one night, I might just throw together a petite tart flambe puff pastry with lardons, Gruyere, and creme fraiche.
What are lardons?
It's basically isn't it like a bacon butter?
I have no idea.
It has lard in it. We tasted
To interpret, the Chardonnay during the elevated tastings is paired with a puff pastry that has cheese and caramelized onions and bacon. It's delicious.
Make one of those at home. If you can't come to the elevated tasting, get a puff pastry, put some bacon on it, caramelized onions.
Yeah, caramelized onions, some Gruyere or something, toasted in the oven. Yum! It's so good.
And look up what a lardon is while you're doing it. All right, we're going to shift gears. We're going to go into the red wines.
Yeah.
And we're going to taste the 2 red wines with you. There is a third. It's not in the tasting kit because it is the Reserve Petite Syrah. A little spendy, $80 a bottle. But we'll talk about that. And of course, you have the chance to add that to your order. And you can come down here or you can call us and we'll take care of that order for you. But let's take a step back and let's go with our Tempranillo.
Yeah, and I want to point out, because I think it's kind of funny, normally we recommend the Valentina first and the Tempranillo afterwards because we try to put these in order from least to most powerful, you could say. But this year we have it in reverse. This Tempranillo is a little bit softer and easier drinking coming off the block than normal.
It's ready for prime time.
Yeah.
It doesn't need any relaxation. It doesn't need to go into timeout. Let's put it that way. It's behaving already, huh?
Yeah, it's lovely already. I'm not sure why that is, but the 2019 was just a beautiful year in general. So we made awesome whites and reds out of that. And so was the 2020. So very excited to have a lineup that has two like really gorgeous years back to back.
Yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to say which one's shining better here, the whites from 2020 or the reds from 2019, which is a great thing. Here's Tempranillo. We didn't start off making Tempranillo right out of the bat, right out of the gate. We were focused on Rhone varieties, but I mean with the Verdejo and the Tempranillo, you're becoming sort of like this desert winemaker, right? I mean these varieties really love the arid conditions. And Tempranillo is a primary example.
I mean,
right?
Tempranillo has a similar story to Verdejo in that it grows really well, really famously in those dry, high elevation climates of northern Spain. And another one where, well, we have several sources of Tempranillo, but it's another one that also comes off of the Emerald Slope Vineyard out in Adrian. And
and Sawtooth, right, as well. We get some from Sawtooth.
Yes, and we have a new block coming on in Melba at Roxburgh Vineyard, which I'm very excited about.
Cheers to Roxburgh.
Yeah, that's a very warm site, so it should be excellent for Tempranillo. So it's actually getting quite ripe. It's probably, it's looking like this, really close to being ready to pick in a couple weeks.
You had a really cool video on Facebook. It was just a quick clip. You were out with our son Rowan. Melanie was in the vineyards, and I forget where you were, but one row was Tempranillo and one row was Malbec. And the Tempranillo, you were kind of explaining that Temprano, the Spanish root of Tempranillo is temprano. That means early. Tempranillo is an early ripening grape. And when you gestured to the Tempranillo cluster, it was almost completely colored. It had almost gone completely into veraison. But the Malbec, there was still quite a few green berries, huh?
Yes, and Malbec will pick at least a month later than Tempranillo. So Tempranillo we should be picking in just a couple weeks here, maybe midway through September. And Malbec we probably won't pick until the later half of October.
And Tempranillo is definitely, along with Valentina and almost all of our reds, they're going to sell out quick, probably 5-6 months. So make sure you stock up, go deep on them. But what is fun is we have the Tempranillo in a special package this year.
This beautiful Magnum bottle, which I'm absolutely loving the packaging on. It's just so gorgeous. So think about this for especially your Christmas gifts and stuff like that. There are 84 bottles. Actually, there's 83 because we broke one the other day.
Oh my God. Those are not, by the way, those are not airline friendly. So don't try to sneak those into your purse and then open it during a flight. We don't want to have you become one of those people on YouTube. All right. But this is lovely. I would say, again, I'm kicking around. Why don't you ask me, what would I cook with this?
What would you cook with Tempranillo, Joe? Were you inclined to cook?
If I was inclined, I'd do something simple like grilled halloumi, poached lobster, probably like with a little strawberry reduction. Believe it or not, I might go in with some seafood here. Now that sounds
weird.
It is weird. It works. Actually, my classic combination with Tempranillo is something with a little bit of char on it. So anything out on the grill that you can get a little burn, almost a little toastiness to it, because I love how that interacts with sort of the earthier notes that you get from Tempranillo.
But Boise Bites, who's doing our elevated tasting catering, they came up with this pairing that's halloumi, that really salty grilled cheese with lobster, and we were kind of amazed and astonished that it was delicious with Tempranillo. So we love to mix up our pairings and get adventurous with those. So
that was like the big creative curveball Zach threw us for the elevated tastings, and the chefs that we work with, they all always do that, and it was incredible. And so
but we
really
need to
works.
stop making people jealous, because these are the at-home tasting kits. Not trying to make you jealous, just trying to give you some inspiration for your own cooking.
These people don't get jealous.
They don't?
These people are deep, soulful, spiritual people. They're at peace right now at home, drinking wine with their buddies.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry about them. They know how to. When they're ready, they come out and party with us. Okay.
Right. So we're down to the chugging stage again.
This is it. This is chugging stage.
Since we forgot to bring a spittoon in.
It's so awesome. We're going to go get coffee after this. Salud. That's good. That's really nice. But we're going to go up a step. We're going to go Valentina, right? We're going to go up into power.
Yeah. So if Tempranillo is your grilling wine when you're feeling kind of, I don't know, adventurous and maybe a little ballsy or something with your cooking, this is your elegance wine. Okay. So I want you to
She
think
did
about.
just say ballsy, by the way.
I'm probably not supposed to say that, but this is your wine when you're feeling really elegant. Whether that's your mood or you're cooking, you know, winter nights when I'm like, I'm in an elegant mood, this is what I pull out.
Okay. Valentina is a Bordeaux blend. For many years, we would call it Cabernet Sauvignon Merlot Malbec blend. That's a mouthful. Eventually, we decided let's give it a fanciful name, and we decided we would name it after our daughter, Charlie Valentina, and she is complex and multi-layered and often bold, but she is entertaining to have at the dinner table, isn't she? Just like the wine.
Indeed.
Yeah. So Valentina, Melanie, I get this question all the time. Why don't you just make a cab straight up, Cabernet Sauvignon, and kind of blend away the other two? Why do you decide every year to make this Bordeaux blend instead of a standalone Cabernet Sauvignon? Isn't Cabernet better? Isn't it, it's super prestigious and
We could probably price it higher, but
you wouldn't like that. Don't do that. Don't.
well, as much as popular as Cab is, I feel that when you have them blended, Cabernet Merlot with a little bit of Malbec, we end up with a more complex and more consistently delicious wine. Cab and Merlot are funny. They taste a lot like each other, and they texturally, they really help round each other out. Merlot tends to have more texture right when you put the wine in your mouth, and Cabernet tends to have more texture after you've swallowed on the finish. So they round each other out, and their flavor profiles in terms of things like the bright cherry, currant fruit, stuff like that is really similar. So they work well together, but they ripen and grow well in slightly different conditions. So Merlot tends to come in really early in the harvest, and Cabernet right towards the end. And in any given vintage, Mother Nature will tend to favor one or the other. And so by producing a wine, this classic Bordeaux blend, you have more consistently delicious wines year after year.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, they're just kind of meant to be together, and I really appreciate that. And well, we've been chatting a long time about a lot of wines, and we really appreciate everybody joining us today on this little adventure. We hope to see you in soon, and please remember, let's see. Oh, I had a reminder. We obviously, with everything that's going on in the labor market, we're not open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday anymore, but we are open Thursday through Sunday, noon to 7. Check our website for making reservations. And also, if you want to come back in during the month of September, we have a pickup window, and that will be open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, where you could pick up some wines during the month of September, or even have your flask filled, which is kind of fun. And we look forward to hopefully seeing more of you in the fall and in the winter. So until then, stay healthy, drink lots of wine, and if you're married to someone like me, be patient.
Cheers.
Cheers.